Okay, so now we're gonna go into the section where I want to discuss lines. So I know you're probably like, how are the lines? Because that's one of the main things, especially when going to Disney. It's either you're gonna expect to wait on a long line to get on a ride, or you may have to pay a little extra to get on, to skip the line, you know, like the fast pass lane. So our trip, my sister unfortunately sprained her ankle right before the trip. She had to use a wheelchair because her ankle was like jacked up. So we did end up, by the grace of God, we got a disability pass because she had a disability at the moment. With the disability pass, we did not have to wait on the lines. Disney cut out, they don't have where you could pay extra to cut the line anymore, like an actual pass. They have something where you could either do it per ride, or if you have the disability pass, you do it through there. That's one of my other tips. Before you go or before you get there, download the app. It's so helpful. You see the wait time, you see the restaurant wait time, you see the restaurants, you see the park maps, everything. It's a lifesaver. With having this app, that's how we were able to navigate with the disability pass. So basically what you do is, for whatever ride you choose to get on, you can only do one ride at a time. But whatever ride you want to get on, you go and you reserve for the queue. And then it gives you a time to get on the ride. So for instance, Hollywood Studios, right? Let's say Slinky Dog Dash. We go on the app to reserve for the ride. And it says, okay, it's called Lightning Lane. That's what it is, Lightning Lane. So we go to reserve for the ride, and it'll say the next time we have available for you to get on this ride is 10 a.m. Say right now it's 9 a.m. So technically you're still waiting an hour, but you're not waiting an hour. Because when you go by 10 a.m., go on the Lightning Lane and you go straight to the ride because your time slot has allowed it. So what we did to make the best use of time, we reserved for rides. And while we reserved for rides, we waited on a line to get on another ride. Because 10 a.m. is a time that it starts, but you don't have to be there exactly at 10 a.m. It's starting 10 a.m. I think it's 10 a.m. and it gives you like an hour and a half to be able to ride the ride. Like I said, we did that for Slinky Dog Dash. Then we went on Mickey's Runaway Railroad. Let's say that wait was about 40 minutes. Once we got on that ride, it was time to get on Slinky Dog Dash. So then we go to Slinky Dog Dash, get on that ride, and then once you get off the ride, then you reserve for another one. Only thing about the Lightning Lane, and even like the regular Lightning Lane, the ones that pay for it, you cannot reserve more than one ride at a time. You have to get on the ride first. And like I said, they scan your card or they scan your pass on your phone. And then it lets the system know like, okay, they on this ride. So then you can go reserve for another ride. You can't reserve for more than one ride at the same time. That's the only thing with that. So that's what we do. That was our system. That's how we made the most beneficial use of our time there to make sure we got on a lot of rides. You have somebody that does have a disability at the moment or a disability in general. They're not able to walk. They're in a wheelchair. You can go to guest services and get a disability pass and it helps you out. Or if you want to just pay for the Lightning Lane feature and pay per ride, I'm not sure of the specifics when it comes to that. Okay, so technically, yes, we did have to wait in some long lines. But once we got on that long line, we got straight into another line and got to cut the line. So it worked out. So basically, within waiting on a long line, we got to ride 2 rides. So, you know, it wasn't that bad. You might want to think about getting a Lightning Pass because it's going to be a lot to have to wait on every single ride. Most rides, you're going to be waiting for at least 40 minutes, 45 minutes. If you're willing to wait 45 minutes per ride, then fine, that's fine. But just keep that in mind. That's a no before you go to. Okay, quickly I'm going to give a breakdown of each park. This is no before you go. This is especially for my beauties and everybody else that's watching this that has never been to Disney World before. So the first park, Epcot. Epcot is like the park that's more educational. You learn more about space and the earth and different worlds. Like I said, they have the wine and food festival where you could eat and drink around the world. You can go to different world stops and have different drinks. I think I showed you, it was either Germany or Switzerland, one of those areas where I had the Viking coffee. You go around and eat and drink. Epcot, in my eyes, is more of the calmer part. And the rides consist more of, like I said, like learning about the 5 senses.
Welcome to our special drive-through open house. I'm Dr. Michael Chairman of the Imagination Institute. Hello, I'm your toy.
We have Mission Space and Test Track with how fast a car can go and building your car. Finding Nemo, but with the Finding Nemo ride, you have a whole entire aquarium to learn about, which I'll insert here.
Oh wow, look, dolphins, babe.
Where? Oh wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. It was like aquarium, learning about different fish. Every single park you're gonna learn something, but Epcot is the one where you really get to learn some facts about like the solar system, and you catch my drift. Now Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios had a lot of exactly what the name is, Hollywood Studios type of rides. That's where you had the Star Wars ride.
BB-8. Grab the ready one before we breaks.
One of my favorite rides, if you go there, if you don't have the lightning lane, I highly suggest you at least pay for that ride if you can. But that ride was amazing. And that wait is like always 2 hours and up. Like if you're going to Hollywood Studios, that needs to be the very first ride you ride. But they had a lot of more like thrill type of rides, but not thrill like every single ride was like a roller coaster. Hollywood Studios had, like I said, the Star Wars Rise of Resistance. It had the Hollywood Tower of Terror. It had the Rock and Roller Coaster. It had the Mickey's Runaway Railway. It had the Toy Story area, which had like the Buzz Lightyear ride and the Slinky Dog Dash. It had that Lightning McQueen show. It had more like family-friendly thrill type of rides. Then we have Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is like the park that if anybody's going to Disney World and they're only staying for a couple of days, they're definitely going to visit Magic Kingdom. I love Magic Kingdom. That has everything. All the princesses. There's everything in there. Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast. It has Fantasyland. It has Frontierland. The light show that they have for the anniversary too was amazing. And it was like a tearjerker. It just gave that vibe and that moment of you can be whatever you set out to be. I loved it. That's a sidebar. If you really want to get a feel of Disney, Magic Kingdom is the park that embodies everything that Disney World is. And then lastly, Animal Kingdom is exactly what it sounds like. It's more animal-based safari. Are you scared to sit on the end? We're gonna see all the animals. We're going on the safari ride. Avatar, going on boat rides and seeing animals and birds. Animal Kingdom. Out of the 4 parks, Animal Kingdom and Epcot is more calmer. It like gives you a moment to breathe and just relax and enjoy stuff. And then Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom is more turned up. Okay, that's my opinion. That's what I would think. That's how I would describe it. Okay, I hope that helps you with planning your trip. Know before you go. Pretty much covered everything I wanted to say about Disney. You could leave me down in the comments if there's anything that I'm missing, but you could comment if you have a question. I'm one of those YouTubers that I do interact and I do reply to your comments, so you can ask me. I'm more than happy to answer your question. Okay, so now we're going into the Universal Studios portion. So as you all know, Universal Studios is not connected to Disney World. If anything, that's its competition. They don't want no parts with it. So they don't offer no shuttles. They don't offer any transportation going in because they don't want you there. Seriously, they don't want you there. If you are planning a day or two to go to Universal Studios, just plan to have transportation. What we did was just took an Uber. We took an Uber from the resort to Universal Studios and it was like about $23. It wasn't expensive at all. It wasn't that far. It probably was like a good 20-minute ride, if that. Disney World, I think, has more actual restaurants within the park. Universal Studios and Islands of Adventures, they don't have many actual restaurants. If anything, they might have like something that houses seats, but everything there is like fast food. Like you go up and you get your food and then you sit down and eat. But Universal Studios has something called City Walk, and now City Walk has a whole bunch of different restaurants and places to drink and stuff like that. It has the Bob Marley restaurant we went to. There's Margaritaville. There's Fat Tuesday. There's even a movie theater. Unlike Disney World, where Disney World has actual restaurants within each of its theme parks that you can actually eat at and they serve you, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventures don't have that within the actual park, but on the outskirts it has the City Walk where you can do that. If you refer back to my video, I might insert a clip. When you first come into the park, you're walking through part of City Walk to get to Islands of Adventure and then Universal Studios. So that's to enter. We are so excited. So that strip of all the stuff that you see when entering, and even when I'm going to the Bob Marley restaurant. City Walk.
How wonderful life is while you're in the world.
That's like the nightlife. That's their nightlife. So if you want to bowl, everything. It's like a mini little strip of restaurants and bars and, you know, things to do to have fun, entertainment purposes. But as far as the actual pricing of the fast food places that the park offers, I would say it's around the same price point. Like at most you're gonna spend about $20 for a meal. What I had to eat there was the tacos from the Bumblebee taco truck. They were pretty good. If you're out there, definitely get some turkey legs. They're Universals and Disney World, their turkey legs are both amazing. So if you see people walking around with a Cayman with their turkey leg, it's lit, it's worth it. Get you some. That's something else I recommend. A turkey leg. Get a turkey leg. It's good. It's good. It's good. Islands of Adventure rides. That park is filled with thrill rides. The Incredible Hulk, the Velocicoaster. I highly recommend if you're a roller coaster fan, you love roller coasters, those two rides you must get on. Islands of Adventure, expect to not have your phone on you for a lot of these rides. So either have funds available to pay for lockers, or if you have people in your party that's gonna not get on and unfortunately gonna have to sit and wait with your bags, or like the bag person, be expecting to do that because you cannot bring your phone on. These rides definitely had metal detectors. Like they had us go through a metal detector. It was that real that you did not have anything in your pockets. I get it now because after getting on the ride, and they probably didn't want any liabilities, but so just imagine how crazy the ride was, right? If they make you check your stuff. You know, some theme parks, don't get me wrong, they have you check your stuff, but they don't have you going through no metal detector just to make sure. Like if you sneak your phone on, that's your own business. No, there's no way you're sneaking it on because they're winding you and everything. You gotta check it. And now we're gonna get into the Bob Marley restaurant review and if I think it was worth it. The Bob Marley restaurant, it's on City Walk. The vibe was nice. I don't know if you could see from the video, it was like all indoor, but it was like indoor outdoor. So it was like where we were sitting was like housed inside. The middle part was like outside, kind of, if that makes sense. So it was like indoor and then outdoor within the whole restaurant. Okay, I think I'll try to show it there to better explain. They had like a live band, and then they also played a lot of Caribbean music while waiting for the band to take its breaks and come on and things of that nature. The rum punch was really good. The food was good too. However, now if you're a true Caribbean person, this food may not be up to your standards, and I only say this because to me it wasn't really spicy. So it was like Caribbean food that was good without the extra spice. I got the curry shrimp and it wasn't like a little kick to it. It was like it was good. It was calm. I was able to get through it. So if you're looking for like the little spiciness, the kick that the Jamaicans do and Caribbean people do, this restaurant isn't gonna have that. You're still gonna have food which you enjoy. A lot of the other people on the trip that came with me, they enjoyed their food. I enjoyed my food too, but if you're looking for like a hint of spice, like that kick, like that extra sal, you're not gonna get that. The dishes were more calmer. The curry shrimp I had was more on the calmer side. The jerk wings I had a little kick to it, but nothing crazy. I don't know about you, but I'm from New York. So New York Caribbean food, it has kick, it's spicy. Especially the jerk. Anything with jerk in New York, if a Caribbean person in New York is making jerk, you know that you're gonna expect for your nose to run just a little bit. Like it's gonna have a kick to it. So when I tasted this food, I was expecting that kick and it didn't have it. Don't get me wrong though, it was still good, but it's just not spicy. I don't know if you could tell them to give it a little bit more kick to it or something, but it didn't have it. The vibe and everything for the restaurant, I would say it was worth it. The food, it depends on how you are. So if you like spicy Caribbean food, you like spicy jerk wings, you like spicy curry chicken, you like spicy this, spicy that, this may not be the right fit for you. If you like to enjoy Caribbean food that's more on a calmer side, then this would be perfect for you. So it depends on the type of person you are when it comes to your Caribbean food. But all in all, I did enjoy the restaurant. I do recommend it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give the restaurant like a 8.5. And another thing too, Universal was totally different. With Universal, I was able to make the reservation for the restaurant literally like a couple of weeks before we went. There's no portal for you to have to reserve or anything like that. Also, another thing too, with Universal, of course, because we didn't stay at Universal, we had to pay for that ticket. So that's something else with planning you want to budget for. What we did, we bought our tickets the end of October. It was like almost near Halloween. Well, majority of us bought our tickets the end of October. Some people bought their tickets while out there. Depends on the type of person you are. I'm one of those people that stuff like that I like to already have paid for prior to going out there, because I don't want the money I'm bringing to have to go towards that. I'd rather have it to actually spend on stuff to enjoy, like food and entertainment while out there. I only want to spend money on the actual enjoyment part of the vacation. Universal Studio and Islands of Adventure are two different theme parks, so they require two different tickets. So we did the 2-park 1-day ticket, and it came up to about almost a little over $200. And lastly, we're gonna go dive back into the resort. So for the resort, Disney's Coronado Springs is split into 3 parts. We have the casitas, we have the cabanas, and we have the ranchos. And then you have the main tower that you first come into, the Grand Destino Tower. Each part I just named has rooms in it. The Grand Destino Towers has 2 lounges in it and the bar. The resort grounds, each area, like the casitos, the ranchos, and the cabanas, have its own pool. Then there's a main pool in the middle. There's also an arcade. There's some restaurants to eat there. There's some restaurants to eat in the main hub area of the resort, and there's bars too. So it's a big resort. I did not get footage, unfortunately, of the actual resort because, like I said, I should have took a day to just relax, and I would have got that for you. The ranchos is like the part of the resort that's like the furthest away. Okay, so if you want to be away from everything, then that might be the area you're gonna try to request to get. If you want to be closer to like the Grand Destino Tower and closer to the actual places where you go, like the hub or where you go to eat, you want to be at either the casitas or the cabanas. We stayed at the cabanas. I showed you majority of the rooms look exactly like the room that I posted. So cabanas, casitos, even the Grand Destino Tower, the rooms are going to look like that. It's just where you are staying in your view. It goes by the view too, what you see when you look out the window of why it's more money. So we stayed at the cabanas, which was pretty close to the main tower where you go to eat and you could drink and stuff like that. So each Disney park has its own transportation to the park. Some of them have monorails, some of them have the water ferry, the water taxi, and then some of them have the sky line thing. And then some of them also have buses. So Coronado Springs has a bus system. So you wait for the bus. It's different bus stops, and it tells you what the stop is for. Either going to take you to Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, or it'll either take you to Disney Springs, which is like City Walk. It's an area with more restaurants, and it has shopping and bowling as well. I know back in the day they used to call it Downtown Disney, but now they call it Disney Springs. So yeah, you have different bus stops, and on the stop it'll tell you there's like a time thing. It tells you how long the next bus comes and stuff like that. I don't have nothing negatively to say about the bus transportation. It was like regular bus transportation, didn't mind it. The buses came pretty quickly. Staying at the cabanas, we were the first stop, so we got on first, so the bus didn't get filled. I'm not gonna lie, when you stay at the other ones, especially like Ranchos, there's stops that are by there. But unfortunately, certain buses come to Grand Destino Tower first and then go other places first. So you do go into the problem of when the bus comes, it may be too filled and it doesn't even stop, and you'll have to wait on the next one. So that's the only thing about that. This is a big know before you go to. If you're planning on staying at Disney's Coronado Springs, you do have the option to check in prior to you getting there. Meaning you'll have to wait a less amount of time for your room to be ready. And it's simple. That Disney app that I told you about, that I told you to download, you just go in through there, go to your room section, and where it says check in, you check in. And then it allows you to have 3 preferences. And you can put in order of the preference, like which has the highest and which has the lowest. So you can either choose where you want to be put at, and you can level it on if it's your first, second, or third preference. If you want to be closer to like a bus stop, or if you want to be like, for instance, like Cabanas has 2 levels, so it's either you're on the second floor or the first floor. Casitas, I believe, has 3. Ranchos, don't quote me, I think it has either 2 or 3. It gives you a preference on if you want to be on the ground level or, you know, whatever. My room actually checked in the night before, like around 10 o'clock or so before, and when we got off the plane, they texted me and said that my room was ready, and it gave me my room number. So that's something great that you might want to do, so that way you don't have to go in the Grand Destino Tower to check in. Other option is, like some of our party did, when we got there, we had to go to the main tower, the Grand Destino Tower, where you saw the check-in table, and you go there and you check in. So you have 2 options: either check in the night before through the mobile app, or you don't even have to check in the night before. You can check in on the plane, wherever you choose to check in at. You could do it on your mobile app, and then after a couple of hours or so, when your room is ready, it sends you a text and lets you know when your room is ready. However, I wouldn't suggest checking in when you get off the plane, because it does take some time. Like, for instance, I told you, I checked in the night before and I didn't get a text until I got off the airplane telling me what room number I was. So that was a lot of hours. Some of our party did attempt to check in after we got off the plane, and by the time we got to the hotel, they never got a text message saying what their room number is. They still ended up having to go to the desk to find that stuff out. All right, guys, so this pretty much concluded my video. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I tried to really give you the full know before you go helpful tips to planning the best, the most perfect, the most epic, the littest Disney World trip. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. You could leave them down below. Any type of planning questions, any questions you want to ask me about the parks and my experience, I'll be sure to reply back to you and answer your questions, okay? Pose up. And if you haven't already done so and you made it this far in the video, I hope you hit that subscribe button. And as always, until next time, mwah.